A neighborhood Facebook page gets a blurry photo of a shopping cart left sideways across the produce aisle. Then one calm stranger types, "Some of you were not raised right," by the fourth reply. Nobody is discussing groceries anymore because tiny comments survive online for the same reason old rumors do. They let people turn irritation into rank. How many modern wars start with someone claiming they were just being honest? More than this file can fit quietly, and it gets uglier the deeper you go. 1. At a suburban stoplight, somebody posts dashcam footage of a driver missing the green and adds, "Must be nice to have nowhere to be." The local comments split into commuters, retirees, amateur traffic philosophers, and one man who insists patience is socialism. By dinner, the original driver's niece has arrived with timestamps, screenshots, and an energy drink. 2. In a family group chat meant for Easter brunch times, one cousin writes, "Store-bought deviled eggs are brave." No names. No direct tag, just enough poison mist. 3 aunts read it as class warfare. One uncle replies with a photo of his homemade tray. And the cousin who actually bought them leaves the chat without leaving the chat. 3. On a wedding photo dump. A college friend types, "Reception looked intimate." That word lands like a folding chair. The bride hears cheap. The groom hears poor planning. And 2 bridesmaids begin translating tone in public, which is impossible because text has no facial muscles and everyone supplies their own smirk. So, 4. At a youth soccer field, the scoreboard freezes. A parent films the confusion, and somebody comments, "Good to know fees are buying excellence." Suddenly, the league treasurer is in the thread posting budget PDFs, while 3 other parents use the moment to litigate snack policy, referee bias, and why Coach Dan always sounds annoyed. 5. Inside a restaurant review app, one customer writes, "The hostess acted like seating us was a federal burden. Employees' friends appear within minutes, then regulars, then people who have never eaten there but dislike review culture on principle. By midnight, the hostess has become a symbol, not a person, which is how dumb comments grow legs." 6. Every Thanksgiving, somebody says the turkey looks a little honest this year. It sounds like a joke until the cook goes silent. Then old resentments rise like steam off mashed potatoes, because family meals are never only about food. They are annual tribunals disguised as casseroles. 7. The office Slack stays quiet until someone comments under the new dress code memo. Love a policy written by people who never lift boxes. Warehouse staff clap in emoji form. Managers start typing with both hands. And HR learns again that sarcasm becomes a labor issue the second it gets witnesses. 8. Beneath a photo of a freshly painted living room, a neighbor writes, "Bold choice for resale." That 6-word grenade turns a harmless color into an argument about property values, taste debt, and whether anyone in the subdivision understands the difference between a home and an investment vehicle. 9. At a baby shower, one guest looks at the diaper cake and says, "In this economy," she means it as observational comedy. The mother-in-law hears judgment. The sister hears political commentary, and half the room suddenly has spreadsheets in their eyes. 10. On a school pickup line post, a dad comments, "Maybe some of you could learn what a zipper merge is." He has chosen the wrong audience and the wrong hour. Within minutes, minivan jurisprudence takes over, complete with hand-drawn diagrams, passive-aggressive arrows, and one retired engineer who treats the curb like NATO. 11. A TikTok recipe video gets the comment, "White people taco night has entered the chat. It was meant to be tossed off and keep moving." Instead, strangers begin debating authenticity, grocery access, seasoning ratios, and whether shredded cheese is cultural exchange or evidence. 12. During a neighborhood yard sale, a hand-lettered sign says "firm on price," and somebody mutters. For that, the seller hears it, smiles the smile of a person now powered entirely by spite, and raises the price $5 in real time. 13. On a photo of a spotless home office, an old classmate writes, "Some of us are still in survival mode, but congrats." The desk, the lamp, the framed print, all of it becomes testimony. One comment and suddenly decor is a moral crime. 14. At a brewery trivia night, the losing table says, "Relax." Some of us don't build our identities around facts about 1980s cereal mascots. They are not talking to the winning table. which is why the winning table hears it with perfect clarity. 15. A church bake sale thread stays pleasant until one reply appears under a pie sign-up. Interesting. The pecan pie got claimed by the same family again. Nothing mobilizes quiet resentment like the phrase "same family again." By sunset, dessert has become governance. 16. In a gym comment section, somebody types, "Not every squat needs a camera crew." Fitness content collapses fast because public recording turns exercise into performance, and performance invites moral inspection. Soon half the thread is defending documentation, and the other half is prosecuting narcissism with screenshots. 17. A roommate leaves a note on the fridge that says, "Dishes do not, in fact, develop character in the sink. It is funny until everyone recognizes the handwriting and the target. Passive aggression only feels passive to the person holding the marker." 18. On a neighborhood app, a blurry coyote photo gets the comment. "Probably looking for the cats people swear are indoor cats." That one sentence ignites pet owners, wildlife realists, and 3 residents who mainly came to say the entire town used to be quieter before apartments arrived. 19. In a fantasy football thread, a manager writes, "Bold roster for someone who claims to understand bye weeks." He expects one laugh and a gif. Instead, 6 men in quarter zips begin speaking to each other like deposed kings. 20. At a hardware store return counter, a customer says loud enough for others. You'd think with this many scanners they'd have found speed by now. The cashier stiffens. The line leans in. And strangers who were united by paint samples suddenly form factions around labor, efficiency, and tone. 21. Under a promposal video, one teenager comments, "Could have just asked." That plain sentence detonates across parents, cousins, classmates, and adults who insist romance died when poster boards got involved. The boy who posted it deletes the music, but not before the aunties arrive. 22. A man posts a photo of his first sourdough loaf. The comment underneath says, "Looks dense, but confidence matters. Bread communities are calm until they are not." Soon, hydration percentages, oven stones, and inherited starter culture are being wielded like historical documents. 23. At a gas station, someone complains online that a driver took up 2 pumps, then adds, "Truck people are a federally protected emotion." Now the fight is no longer about hoses or parking angles. It is about masculinity, class costume, and who gets to take up public space. 24. And on a vacation slideshow, a friend comments, "Love that everyone goes to the exact same 5 places now. Travel, once photographed, stops being movement and becomes evidence of taste, budget algorithmic conformity, and whether joy has been outsourced to beige hotels." 25. At a backyard graduation party, one relative says, "College isn't for everybody," and debt collectors know that better than guidance counselors. The graduate hears sabotage. The parents hear insult. And 3 people who were peacefully eating baked beans now require witnesses. That was the easy layer. Food parking weddings, sourdough, and casual sarcasm with folding chair consequences. The file gets worse when comments stop merely bruising feelings and start challenging competence. Rank money and the little systems people build to feel in control. 26. In a corporate all-hands chat, the CEO says open feedback welcomed and an employee replies, "Then maybe stop launching deadlines before software exists." Public truth travels badly upward. The thread locks, screenshots spread sideways, and the phrase open feedback is never trusted again. 27. On a parenting forum, someone writes, "Screen time isn't childcare just because the tablet has a rubber case. The mothers of toddlers arrive exhausted. The fathers of toddlers arrive defensive. And the childless aunt with a psychology minor arrives like she has been waiting all year." 28. A bridal store posts a fitting video, and one comment reads, "If she can't sit in it, it's decor. That should have stayed about tailoring." Instead, the bride's cousin interprets it as a body remark. The stylist posts a defensive reel, and strangers begin ranking honesty against kindness. 29. At a homeowners association meeting, a resident says, "Interesting how the grass letters go out faster on certain streets. Every room has one sentence that reveals the real war. This was theirs, and now irrigation schedules. Favoritism and board elections are suddenly interesting to everyone. 30. Under a used car listing. A potential buyer comments, "Amazing how often lady-driven means check the bumper." The seller's brother appears first. Then the seller herself. Then a crowd of people who mostly came to argue about sexism through the medium of a dented Honda. 31. A professor posts office hours, and a student replies, "Love a schedule built for people who don't have jobs." One line and the lecture hall splits into commuters, traditional students, faculty defenders, and the one future lawyer who begins citing the syllabus like it is constitutional text. 32. In a restaurant group chat, a server writes, "If Table 12 can name every bourbon note, they can read the menu prices. Tipped labor plus public contempt equals instant combustion." Soon, diners are describing service trauma. Servers are describing humanity, and management is pretending not to watch. 33. At a PTA fundraiser, a father comments under the volunteer spreadsheet, "Funny how the same 5 moms keep the school alive." He thinks he is praising effort. Instead, he has announced a labor imbalance in front of people who have receipts. 34. On a neighborhood dog post, someone says, "Leash laws aren't a suggestion just because your doodle has an Instagram face." Dog owners rarely hear the law part. They hear doodle Instagram and face, then begin defending their animal's character like it has a pension. 35. A bridal shower seating chart leaks online with one reply. "So the cousins got economy class." Family rank becomes visible fastest through folding tables. By the end of the night, one aunt is measuring respect in chair distance. 36. In a community theater Facebook group, a former cast member comments, "Some roles are clearly earned through talent, and some through marriage. Amateur art contains professional levels of jealousy with none of the legal staffing protections." The director's wife closes comments 3 minutes too late. 37. A city bus rider posts that someone played music out loud, then adds, "Headphones are cheaper than public shame." Half the thread applauds. The other half says confrontation is dangerous, and a third faction appears solely to argue that the decline of civilization can be dated to Bluetooth speakers. 38. Under a teacher appreciation post, someone writes, "Maybe appreciation could look like paper that actually works in the copier." The district office sees it. Teachers cheer, administrators draft a careful response, and parents use the opening to attach grievances like ornaments. 39. A fitness studio announces a wellness retreat, and the first comment says, "Nothing says healing like a payment plan." The retreat becomes a referendum on aspiration, money theater, and whether expensive self-care is self-care or just better lighting. 40. In a college alumni thread, one graduate comments, "The networking was elite. The bathrooms were historical. Institutions hate mixed reviews because specifics stick. Donors defend marble memories. Younger alumni post mold photos. And the administration discovers that nostalgia is strongest until plumbing enters the room." 41. At a hardware store workshop, a man tells a woman, "You actually know what you're doing." The sentence walks in wearing a compliment and leaves labeled evidence. By evening, the store's page is full of women describing identical moments with terrifying efficiency. 42. On a daycare update about hand, foot, and mouth going around, one parent comments, "Reminder that fevers are not personalities. Sick child politics turns ordinary adults into intelligence agencies." People begin decoding vague attendance patterns and identifying likely carriers from nothing but timestamps and suspicion. 43. A wedding DJ posts a dance floor clip, and a commenter says, "That crowd needed one less ballad and one less speech. Vendors love praise and fear specificity." The bride's father sees it. The best man sees it. And suddenly, everyone is revisiting a microphone. 44. In a corporate LinkedIn post about hustle culture, an ex-employee writes, "Great to see burnout finally got a graphic designer." The company responds with gratitude language, which only confirms the charge. Now every former worker in the county is in the replies. Hot. 45. A woman posts a before and after pantry makeover. Underneath, a neighbor types, "Containers are not meal planning, correct? Technically, catastrophic. Socially, soon plastic bins are standing trial for class signaling." domestic theater, and the national inability to leave oatmeal alone. 46. At a youth baseball game, someone says, travel ball is just recession-proof anxiety. Parents who spend 4 weekends a month in fold-out chairs do not enjoy hearing the business model described that cleanly. Cooler lids shut harder. Smiles become administrative. 47. 2. In a neighborhood emergency prep thread, one guy comments, if your generator has mood lighting, you are preparing for the wrong apocalypse. Preparedness communities are 2 replies away from moral theology at all times. Soon, extension cords and masculinity are linked for reasons nobody can fully defend. 48. A coffee shop posts a sign asking customers not to hold tables during peak hours. One reply says, amazing that laptops pay less rent than apartments. Remote workers show up furious. Baristas show up exhausted. And the owner tries to stay neutral while staring directly at the tip jar. 49. On a school spirit post, a mother comments, fundraising every week starts to feel less like community and more like organized tapping. The typo does not matter. The accusation does. Booster Club veterans enter the thread like veteran infantry. 50. A local politician posts a photo in a reflective vest at a pothole site, and the top reply says, nothing fixes asphalt like a camera. Public officials can survive criticism. They struggle with mockery because mockery sticks to the image. By afternoon, the pothole has its own meme account. Now the comments are not just annoying. They are hitting payroll, status, labor, gender, institutions, and every public performance people use to prove they matter. Once that starts, nobody is arguing about the sentence anymore. They are arguing about who gets to say what out loud. From the sideways shopping cart to the deviled eggs, from the zipper merge diagrams to the camera-ready pothole, the pattern is the same. One little sentence finds the sore spot, and suddenly an entire system starts talking about itself. The second half gets less petty, more organized, and much harder to dismiss. 51. At a college orientation page, someone writes, love paying resort prices for prison mattresses. Housing departments hate metaphors they cannot invoice away. Parents pile in with move-in photos. Alumni defend tradition. And the university discovers again that glossy brochures are weakest against actual bedding. 52. In a wedding planning forum, one commenter says, destination weddings are just expensive hostage notes with a registry. Guests who secretly agree stay silent. Bridesmaids do not. Suddenly flights loyalty points, emotional obligation, and friendship math are all on the table. 53. A grocery store posts about family values and a cashier replies, then schedule us like family, not forklifts. Workers are often quiet until the brand offers poetry first. Then the comments fill with split shifts, denied weekends, and corporate phrases that age in public like warm milk. 54. On a luxury apartment reel, someone comments, granite countertops are not a personality trait. Real estate content functions by borrowing emotion from surfaces. The minute somebody says that out loud, tenants start discussing rent, landlords start discussing amenities, and everyone else starts discussing civilization. 55. A local newspaper asks whether tipping has gone too far, and one reply says, if the payment screen needs bravery, the business model already failed. Service workers, owners, economists, and people who are simply tired gather instantly. The touchscreen becomes a cultural crime scene. 56. In a church renovation thread, a member comments, nothing says humility like imported stone. Sacred spaces turn ugly fast when money gets visible. Soon, parish history, donor politics, and stained glass priorities are being debated with a level of zeal normally reserved for doctrine. 57. A school district announces a new attendance robot call system. The first parent reply says, perfect now, the panic can be automated. Once administrative convenience meets parental fear, every glitch feels personal. People begin posting screenshots like ransom notes from a friendly machine. 58. Under a viral video of a packed airport gate, someone types half these people lined up because they confuse standing with progress. Travel threads are always one sentence from anthropology. Now boarding groups, carry-on ethics, and American Q delusion are all under fluorescent review. 59. A neighborhood page debates fireworks, and one man comments, "The loudest patriots always need batteries." He has accidentally united veterans, dads with coolers, dog owners, and two people who mainly miss the stars. Nobody leaves with the same definition of freedom they brought in. 60. At a school board live stream, a resident writes, "Every microphone in this room makes people dumber by confidence alone." Harsh, but the footage supports the thesis. Now comment warriors clip timestamps, label villains, and convert a routine meeting into episodic entertainment. 61. A bridal boutique posts a champagne wall. The top comment says, "Great hydration but decorative. Wedding threads go nuclear when somebody names the theatrical uselessness of a thing." Event planners defend atmosphere. Normal people ask for water. 62. In an office kitchen, someone tapes up a sign reading, "Your mother does not work here, but apparently mine does." The printer-friendly joke becomes an HR fossil within the hour. People are not debating the dishes. They are debating who gets to shame whom in common space. 63. A university posts photos of finals week therapy dogs. A student comments, "Nothing says structural care like one golden retriever and a broken advising portal. Institutions love comfort props because props photograph well." The replies, unfortunately, contain billing errors. 64. At a home improvement store clinic, a man tells the instructor, "I came for tile advice, not a TED Talk on grout feelings." Everyone laughs except the instructor, who now has to keep teaching while visibly wounded. Expertise is fragile when heckling sounds folksy. 65. On a parenting reel about lunchbox hacks, one comment reads, "If your child needs a themed kiwi flower to eat fruit, the parent needs the intervention. The war that follows is less about kiwi than performance. Lunch becomes a battlefield for effort theater." Yes, dang. 66. A bank posts a community values ad, and a customer replies, "Community values closed my branch and opened a selfie wall." Financial institutions dislike being described in architectural detail. Soon retirees are posting bus routes, small business owners are posting delays, and the selfie wall remains tragically visible. 67. In a neighborhood safety thread, a resident says, "If your Ring camera catches more package carriers than crime, congratulations on inventing paranoia with shipping updates. Security technology lives on fear, and fear resents being mocked." The comments fill with porch photos and moral certainty. 68. A music festival account announces a cashless experience. Somebody comments, "Nothing says freedom like losing cell service next to a $16 lemonade." Infrastructure criticism hits hard. Because it names the trap, fans defend convenience until the first dead phone enters evidence. 69. Under a teacher's viral classroom clip, one reply says, "Amazing what respect looks like when parents aren't CC'd." The sentence is clever enough to spread and cruel enough to sting. Teachers cheer, parents bristle, administrators begin rehearsing balance. 70. On a photo of a co-working space with nap pods, a former employee comments, "They'd rather buy a pod than hire another person." Corporate wellness dies the moment math enters. Now every beanbag chair in America looks slightly guilty. 71. A hospital cafeteria post about wellness bowls gets the comment, "The vending machine understands night shift better than this menu does. Healthcare workers know exactly what that means." Dietitians arrive earnest, nurses arrive feral, and the bowl never recovers. 72. In a neighborhood composting group, someone writes, "A lot of you want the identity of sustainability without the smell of it." The fight gets weird instantly because virtue attached to a bin is still virtue. Soon, compost is standing in for politics, income, and moral cleanliness. 73. A city page announces a public mural, and a reply says cool. Now to sidewalks people can use while admiring it. Arts funding debates always hide an old jealousy. Beauty versus maintenance. The mural becomes evidence in a trial it never agreed to attend. 74. At a high school reunion page, one former class clown comments, "Willed how the people who hated school now market themselves as community leaders. Memory plus public profiles equals acid. Old hierarchies twitch awake, then start typing under their real names." 75. A grocery influencer posts a budget meal that totals $38 in ingredients. And the top reply says, "Budget for which kingdom? The war is immediate." Because affordability is one of the few lies people still insist on performing with confidence. By now, the comment is no longer a spark. It is a probe. One sentence goes in, finds the pressure point, and the whole environment reveals what it was already hiding. Resentment performance, unpaid labor, fake efficiency, and people mistaking visibility for virtue. 76. A city transit app celebrates a redesign, and the first reply says, "Love the new icons. Can the bus also come when presentation outruns function? Sarcasm becomes civic documentation. Commuters post delays. Designers defend clarity, and the app now looks like a decorative apology." So, 77. On a neighborhood gardening page, one member comments, "Some of these native plant people are just HOA rebels with Latin vocabulary. Gardening communities contain astonishing reserves of tribal hostility. Suddenly mulch is ideology, lawns are confession, and nobody remembers the original tomato question." 78. A gym chain posts no excuses in giant letters, and someone replies, "Affordable childcare would remove several. Motivational language cracks the second real-life answers back." The thread fills with parents, shift workers, injured people, and men who confuse discipline with universality. 79. A town festival page announces artisanal vendors, and one local writes, "So the same candle woman in 12 fonts festivals survive on borrowed novelty." Once somebody names repetition, half the county starts auditing rustic branding. 80. So, a corporate training video gets the internal comment, "Amazing how every problem in this company can be solved by another slide deck." No one disputes the substance. They dispute the audacity of writing it where executives can see. That is when the real fight starts. 81. At a school open house, a parent says, "The security vestibule is impressive for a building where nobody answers email. Modern institutions love visible control because it photographs better than follow-through." Now, safety architecture and administrative silence are being measured on the same ruler. 82. A meal prep influencer posts 9 identical containers, and the top comment says, "This looks like edible probation. Order, once mocked correctly, cannot recover its innocence." Soon, the thread is split between discipline worship and people defending the human right to sauce. 83. You're in a wedding video comments section. Someone writes, "The vows were beautiful. The microphone feedback was the real commitment. Technical failure plus romance equals instant blame assignment. Cousins target the DJ. The DJ targets the venue, and the venue develops sudden amnesia." 84. A library announces a self-checkout upgrade, and a patron comments, "Every innovation here somehow asks me to do the employee's job." While the machine panics, public service tech fails in a uniquely insulting way. It saves labor by borrowing patience from the user. Our fans. 85. On a neighborhood watch thread, a resident says, "Some of you want community, but only if it arrives in a matching set and parks correctly." That sentence names the whole disease too clearly. The replies stop being about the suspicious sedan and start being about belonging. Cider. 86. A luxury skincare reel gets the comment, "At this price, the moisturizer should also forgive my taxes." Beauty wars intensify fast because aspiration hates arithmetic. Now dermatology, class performance, and bathroom shelf theater are all giving statements. 87. A City Hall post about streamlined permitting gets this reply, "If it were any more streamlined, it would vanish entirely. Bureaucratic language exists to sound smooth while remaining sticky. Contractors, homeowners, and one exhausted clerk all recognize the joke because they live inside it." 88. A friend group argues over concert tickets, and one person texts, "Funny how everyone believes in fairness after seats are assigned." The screenshot leaks, as screenshots always do. Once fairness is described as timing plus self-interest, every old group compromise starts looking counterfeit. 89. On a school lunch menu post, a father comments, "The chicken nugget has become a municipal religion." He thinks he is mocking repetition. Instead, he has insulted exhausted parents, budget math picky eaters, cafeteria workers, and the only item half the students consistently trust. 90. A real estate ad brags about walkable charm and someone replies, "Walkable to what?" Exactly another leasing office development language collapses under one accurate question. Then renters arrive, business owners arrive, and the whole district begins describing itself against its own marketing copy. At this point, the dumb comment is not random at all. It keeps working, because modern life is built out of tiny performances, and one well-placed sentence can expose how much of the set is painted wood. 91 is sun in a workplace chat. Someone types the phrase "circle back" has delayed more truth than traffic ever will. Nobody asks whether that is correct. They begin confessing the meetings, the emails, the loops, and the hours lost to polite avoidance dressed as collaboration. 92. A neighborhood page debates parking again, and a resident comments, "Some of you treat the curb like inherited land." That is the whole country in one sentence, scaled down to a Honda and 2 trash cans. The replies know it, which is why they arrive hot. 93. On a parent-teacher thread, one mother writes, "Interesting how rigor always gets louder when support gets smaller." The comment lands because it names a trick everybody has seen. Demand goes up, help goes missing, and the burden gets rebranded as character building. 94. A city cleanup campaign posts glossy volunteer photos, and someone replies, "Amazing how civic pride always has time for the camera angle. Once public virtue is accused of loving proof more than labor, every matching t-shirt starts looking slightly incriminating." 95. In a friend group planning dinner, one text says, "Nobody is indecisive. Everyone just wants veto power without responsibility." The group goes quiet because the sentence is too accurate to fight cleanly. Then naturally, they fight anyway. 96. A university posts about leadership excellence, and a student replies, "Every campus loves leaders until someone asks where the money went." That comment turns aspiration into accounting. Once that happens, banners, speeches, and smiling administrators all begin to look like stage props. 97. Say, on a local mom's page, somebody writes, "You can tell which advice is bad because it always arrives with confidence and no follow-up." The thread erupts because that describes half the internet. 3 grandmothers, and an alarming number of men in truck hats. 98. A company shares a morale initiative, and an employee comments, "If morale had a budget, it wouldn't need balloons." Office culture collapses fastest when somebody translates celebration into cost avoidance. Then every pizza party from the last decade reports for duty. 99. In a homeowners group, one resident says, "The real neighborhood amenity is pretending not to see each other until rules are involved." That line hits because it reveals the bargain under suburban peace. Silence until enforcement, courtesy until parking, friendliness until evidence. 100. A lifestyle influencer posts a morning routine, and the top comment says, "Nothing this optimized could possibly survive a sick child or a broken sink." The war spreads because everyone recognizes the broader insult. Curated order has declared ordinary life an interruption. 101. Under yet another public argument about lines, fees, rules, chairs, snack schedules, in respect somebody finally writes, "Half these wars start because people would rather sound above it than be useful." There it is, the closing image of the whole file. A glowing screen, a moving thumb, and 10 people racing to defend a version of themselves. Back at that grocery store photo, the cart is still sideways, the aisle is still blocked, and the original comment still hangs there like it discovered fire. That is the pattern, isn't it? The dumbest comments are rarely dumb because they are false. They are dumb because they hit one sore truth with the social grace of a brick. What is the most ridiculous comment you have ever seen turn a normal room, chat, or thread into a full civic emergency? And if this file found your people in it, subscribe before the next harmless remark takes down another holiday.